a Pamplico game in the score sheet twice. I've memorized that one number that I shouldn't answer. You can hear me good?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That doesn't really work.
Good job getting on these scores. What are you looking at?
Score stream. A little bit of Twitter, but
You're looking at who?
score stream.
Okay.
A little bit of Twitter. Not that much.
Did you put the Oceanside score in?
I did. That was one of the first ones I saw. Okay.
15-year-old about cardiac arrest. Only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911.
Yeah, that really is what might have happened to David. It's interesting.
Oh, Greenwood beat Dorman.
No way. That's so funny.
I need to be in
Join us at communityofveterans.org.
Hold on. Really quick. This is the one I call out on, right?
Which one? I don't know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Okay, let's go.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into the high school football scoreboard on this Friday night across the state of South Carolina here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have you with us. If you're heading home from a ball game tonight, boy, I tell you what, you couldn't have dialed up better weather, could you? And unlike last Friday night, so far so good, all calm and peaceful out there across the state. So that's the way we like it to be. We got some great games across South Carolina for you tonight. And throughout the next 2 hours, we'll bring you all the scores that we can get to and get on the air. Plus, David Shelton will be joining us to break it all down and analyze everything that he knows about high school football in the state tonight. Plus, he's at the Summerville and Berkeley game tonight, and he will share his thoughts on that game too. Plus, we'll be getting reports from guys all across the state. And looking forward to bringing it all to you tonight. J.P. Barry here at the studio as well, taking your well, not your phone calls, really, but if you want to call in and give us a score or even an observation, if we have time, we can do that. But he is here producing and taking the calls from the folks out covering games tonight. So let's go ahead and get into some final scores because that's what you tune in for. In the upstate tonight thus far, we've got Greenwood defeating Dorman. Huge win for the Eagles, knocking off Dorman in a defensive battle. Final score of 10-7. J.O. Mann takes care of Woodruff in a big way tonight, 40-0. In the Midlands, it's Airport defeating Lamar, 10-2. Gray Collegiate knocks off Hammond in a big way, 52-14. Last night, Richland Northeast edged Keenan, 44-43. Chapin all over Spring Valley tonight, 38-7. Strom Thurmond takes down Aiken, 48-12. In the PD, Grand Strand area, Andrews over Carver's Bay, 42-6. Oceanside Collegiate scores a very late touchdown, an extra point. I think it was a 2-point conversion to defeat Carolina Forest in Conway 14-13. Louisville all over Chesterfield 58-0. And Cheraw tops Hannah Pamplico 41-14 in a game that was expected to be one that would go down to the wire because it was two powerhouse clubs. Hartsville defeated Camden big at Kellytown Stadium 55-21, the renewal of a very long-running rivalry here in South Carolina. It's all Red Foxes tonight over Camden, 55-21. Lee Central and Buford play tonight, and we only have a partial score there, JP, because I only see a score for Central. There we go. Lee Central defeats Buford 22-7. South Florence big over Orangeburg-Wilkinson. The Bruins picking up where they left off last season. They win it 61-0. And May River big over Waccamaw tonight. Final score there of 45-6. As we go to the Skeeza scoreboard. Greenwood Christian 51, Spartanburg Christian 28, Bethlehem Christian 42, Heathwood Hall 6, and St. Andrews over John Paul II. Final score of 36-7. And let's give you some more finals now as we check some other outlets for scores tonight here on the high school football scoreboard, as we'll be bringing you final scores throughout the night and also some in-progress scores, as some games are going to be running a little bit longer than others. Of course, Patrick Henry Academy over Lee Academy, 47-21. It was Christ Church over Asheville School, 27-26. Dreer over Lakewood, 35-8. North Myrtle Beach, a winner over West Brunswick of North Carolina, 35-7. Bamberg Earhart, 17, and Barnwell, 7. Fox Creek, 21. McCormick, 14. Crestwood, 49. Andrew Jackson, 7. Marion, 34. Central of Pageland, 7. And I think we have given you all of these to this point. Looking for some fresh scores that we haven't given you yet. Let's take a look at some scores in progress, some games that are still ongoing at this hour. And then we'll start to take some reports from folks who are calling in with reports from games tonight. So it was in the fourth quarter, St. John's Christian over Calhoun Academy, 22-8. And it's Pinewood Prep leading Ben Lippin 22-21. That's in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, Batesburg Leesville 42, Ridge Spring Monetta 6. C.A. Johnson leading North Central third quarter, 16-14. Saluda has defeated 96, 25-0. Chester leads Fairfield Central in the fourth quarter, 24-0. Clinton has defeated Newberry tonight, their rivalry game, but it's all Red Devils, 42-7. And Gilbert over South Aiken, 49-35. In the fourth quarter, North Augusta leads Lakeside out of Evans, Georgia, 27-17. Dreer, third quarter, leading Lakewood, 28-0. In the fourth, Palmetto, 20. Travelers Rest, 19. In the fourth, Stratford, 24. Lexington, 22. In the third, Dutch Fork, 20. Huff of North Carolina, 17. In the third quarter, Ridgeview all over Lower Richland, 33-6. In the fourth quarter, Blythewood, 23. Westwood, 20. In the third quarter, Blackville Hilda leading Allendale Fairfax 33-0. And Latta goes to 3-0. I'm not sure in my lifetime, JP, that Latta's been 3-0. Perhaps. It's been a while. 28-14 over McBee and the Rick Henrys. Oh, man, why didn't I put money on this game with Rick Henry? So the Latta Vikings take down the McBee Panthers Rick Henrys 28-14. And I am very happy to report that. Andrews, a winner over Carvers Bay, 42-6. Whale Branch over Ridgeland Hardyville, 44-18. Bamberg Earhart beats Barnwell tonight, 17-7. And Cheraw takes down Hannah Pamplico, 41-14. Also, we've got Blacksburg in the fourth quarter, leading Cherryville of North Carolina 47-40. Crescent 33, Fountain Inn 13. Christ Church and Asheville School tied at 20 in the fourth quarter. Battery Creek trailing Calhoun County. It's Calhoun County 41, Battery Creek 26. That's in the fourth quarter. Philip Simmons 48, Georgetown 7 in the third. Scotland County, Georgia over Marlboro County 49-20 in the fourth. Crestwood leading Andrew Jackson 21-0 in the third. Berea defeats Carolina High 34-19. Wren in the third quarter leads Seneca 41-10. In the fourth, James Island running it up big on First Baptist 64-0. In the fourth, Beaufort 20, Hilton Head 17. Dillon knocks off Wilson 31-13 tonight. And in the fourth, Midland Valley leading Silver Bluff 21-7. That is it. We are up to date on scores available at our fingertips right now. We'll continue to update things as we go along. Well, you know what? Just got a few more. Palisades of North Carolina leading Indian Land in the fourth, 26-24. Belton Honeypath leading Lawrence in the fourth, 49-14. Greer leading Blue Ridge in the fourth, 51-0. Eastside on top of Liberty in the fourth, 28-21.
Oh, okay.
Chesney has defeated Walhalla 20-10. Pickens leading Southside 34-13. That's in the fourth quarter. Grayson of Loganville, Georgia in the third quarter leads Fort Dorchester 27-0. In the third quarter, Cane Bay over West Ashley 13-0. Somerville has beaten Berkeley on a night that they opened up a museum to honor Coach John McKissick, and Somerville has defeated Berkeley. Rivalry game there, 100th anniversary of the first time that these two teams have played, and Somerville wins at 62-27. Sumter leading Goose Creek big in the fourth quarter, 50-15. Myrtle Beach in the fourth quarter over St. James, 30-9. West Florence in the third quarter leads Socastee 28-14. Ashley Ridge in the fourth quarter over Conway 33-25. A final, Rock Hill beats Lancaster 36-16. In the fourth, Nation Ford 3, Catawba Ridge 0. In the fourth, Gaffney leading South Point 27-21. Boiling Springs has defeated Chapman tonight 29-7. Fourth quarter, Easley 62, Wade Hampton 27. Fourth quarter, Spartanburg 14, Broome 7. In the fourth, Burns 31, Greenville 14. In that game, saw a tweet that Mazio Bennett, the prized receiver who committed to South Carolina, was injured and left the game and would not be returning. No further information at this point. West Side, how about this? For the new coaching staff at West Side, they upset TL Hanna tonight 42-30. Who saw that coming? And that catches us up now on the scores to this point tonight. So we're going to go to our first break, and when we'll come back, we'll start to get into some reports, and we will have more updates for you as well as we gather in more scores, wait for some of these partial scores to finish up, and get David Shelton on the line as well. So we got that coming up for you here on the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Hang in there with us. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
Okay. Doug's the only person we got in right now. I'm going to try David again.
And make sure all mics are off. Guy texted me, said we had hot mics on Facebook. All mics off. Oh, wait a minute. Guys, turn it.
What about this? All right, iPad microphone has sound.
No, that's you.
Yeah.
I just heard you.
Climate change and promote racism and therefore should be phased out. This is SRN News.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Corey, and this is my story. I was going through some financial troubles paying off my credit cards. I was paying high interest rates, and it just wasn't getting any better. And I knew I had to do something. So my mom told me about Trinity, and so I decided to call. Trinity was able to do something that I couldn't. I'm paying off my debt, I'm saving thousands, and things are really looking up. I promise you guys, you will not regret it when you call Trinity, because it was such a relief and less stress in my life, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself. Because once I called Trinity, they took care of me, and I felt such a relief, a weight off my shoulders. Trinity was great to work with. They wanted to help me. I love it.
Hey everybody, I'm David Jolly of the Higgins and Halloran Insurance Group. When you think about insurance, I ask that you think of me. I'm homegrown in the Midlands. I live in Lexington. I'm a lifelong learner, teacher, coach, and friend. There are many insurance agencies out there, and there's even more agents. How am I different? I served 20 plus years as a coach and teacher. I'll help you understand it. I've done this for a long time. I've been there for folks during horrible times in their lives. It's not easy, but it's when I can help the most. I'll explain the right insurance coverage, not try to sell it to you. Best of all, I'm an independent insurance agent. I want to be your trusted insurance advisor. I have no quotas to fill. I work for you, and I'll find you the best and most affordable coverage to fully protect you, your family, and your business. I'm always available to my clients, who I get to know as friends. I can help with personal insurance, like your homes, vehicles, or boats, your commercial, for business owners. And it doesn't matter how big or small your company is, I want to help. So when you think about insurance, think of me, David Jolly of the Higgins and Halloran Insurance Group. Online at higginsandhalloran.com or give me a call at 803-850-0054.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago that spending my marketing dollars at the point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local to partner with him in 2023 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results, and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
There's more than one kind of customer when it comes to Shooter's Choice. First, there's the customer who knows what's what, has a pretty good idea of what he or she likes. You're looking for a few things. First, a good selection. Yep, Shooter's Choice has a huge selection. Firearms, ammo, accessories, optics, even gun safes. You're looking for good and pricing. Oh yeah, Shooters has been around as your local stop forever because they treat you right. And how about customer service? Absolutely the best you'll find anywhere. The folks who work at Shooter's Choice are shooters and hunters just like you. They know their products. They can answer your question. And that brings me to the other type of customer. Someone maybe more like me. No expert for sure, but wants to learn from the right people. I don't need some big box store guy who works in the shoe department half a week, sporting goods the other half. I need the experts at Shooter's Choice who will treat me right, answer my questions as simple as they might be. They'll make my experience excellent. Online, it's shooterschoicesc.com or visit them in person on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
All right, welcome back. It is the high school football scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union, Phil Kornblut, and J.P. Barry, the voice of Gamecock hockey. What? The voice of Gamecock hockey. They have a hockey team at South Carolina. I think they do. It's a club team. J.P. being a student over there is formulating his skills by working. If you can call hockey, you can call anything. I mean anything. So good luck with that. David Shelton now coming back to us And so Somerville looked like $1 million tonight, huh? Looked real good.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're playing a very young Berkeley team. By the way, they got a Berkeley freshman quarterback, Henry Rivers. Mark it down. That kid's going to be a big-time recruit, threw for about 250 yards and a couple touchdowns. He's also an outstanding pitcher in baseball, so keep your mind, just write it down. Henry Rivers, Berkeley freshman. He's going to be a player, but Somerville way too much. They scored on their second play, and then Berkeley punted, and on their Dreamwave second play, they scored again. They were ahead 21-0. They got 21-6. They got a little sloppy, but every time they needed something, they gave the ball to number 3, Yannick Smith, and he did his magic. And Somerville's quarterback, Jaden Cummings, is a really good quarterback. They got a lot of weapons on offense. They got more than one receiver. They got a couple of running backs. Defensively, we're going to have to see. I mean, they did get gassed a little bit tonight, but not crazy because they were so far ahead, and it was kind of hard to tell if the backups were playing or the starters with a big lead. But Somerville's good. I mean, somebody's got to be ranked number 1, and might as well be them. I don't know that they're the best team in 5A right now today, but I think they're one of the teams that you have to put in the top 2 or 3. They just got a lot of weapons offensively.
Well, I can tell you one team that won't be ranked number 1, Dutch Fork. 0-3, David. They lose to Huff of North Carolina. Very good team over there in North Carolina. Traditionally has been a good team. I don't know how good they are this year, but they defeat Dutch Fork 20-17 tonight over in Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, but they're 0-1 in South Carolina. So let's not forget, their quarterback got hurt, and they're playing some really good out-of-state teams because a lot of in-state teams don't want to play them. Spartanburg played them and beat them, and I think they come to Stratford next week, or Stratford goes there. But Lexington beat Stratford tonight on a last-second field goal, 25-24.
Ooh.
So Lexington is 3-0. And Lexington was down 24-7 and scored the last 18 points in that game to win. And, so Lexington with Dustin Curtis is 3-0 is 3-0, and that's a big road win. I mean, Stratford's not a top 10 5A team, but they're a 5A team and on the road and down 17, and they came back and won. So good win from them. And Buford also got a win tonight. I think they won 20-17 over Hilton Head. Another team that they, Buford was looking for their first win, and they were down, found a way to win late. So, it's September 1st. I don't, let's not start casting aspersions as to who's good and who's not. But, Dutch Fork 0-3, it's a story because it's never happened under Tom Knox. But I say it every week. I'm not counting Dutch Fork out until it's November and they lose.
I don't blame you. Too good a coach, too good a staff. Too many good players. They'll get it going. All right, Jefferson Davis over Holly Hill Academy, 28-22. Indian Land over Palisades, North Carolina, 27-26. C.A. Johnson over North Central, 24-20. Just to repeat for those just joining us, Latta 28, McBee 14.
Did you say that Holly Hill Academy lost?
That's what I'm reading here. Jeff Davis 28, okay. Holly Hill 22.
That snaps their 39 game winning streak. They had won 39 in a row. So that's kind of an upset there. I mean, it's 8-man football, but they had won 39 in a row.
PD Academy 28, Carolina Bobcats 7. Rock Hill with a win, 38-16 over Lancaster. Ben Limpin over Pinewood Prep, 28-21. West Oak 50, South Carolina Spartans 6. Pillion 35, Eau Claire 28, Blythewood 30, Westwood 20. Gaffney beat South Point 27-21. Philip Simmons 48, Georgetown 14, Williamsburg 20, Florence Christian 18. Whitmire 8, Mid Carolina 7, Irmo 42, River Bluff nothing. And Myrtle Beach 30, St. James 9, Hampton County 27, Emerald 24. Nation Ford 17, Catawba Ridge 13. James Island 64, First Baptist nothing. Berea 34, Carolina Academy 19. Northwood Academy 40, Thomas Hayward 12. Sumter 50, Goose Creek 15. With that, let's pause and welcome into the high school scoreboard the voice of the Sumter Gamecocks, Bruce McNeil, as the Gamecocks, who never get enough love except from me, Bruce, never get enough love. They win again. They score 50 points, and their defense continues to be their defense, which is among the best in the state every year.
Yeah, they pitched a shutout in the second half tonight. Really pretty balanced offense, had a lot of short fields. It's a young team at Goose Creek, and Sumter isn't that old, but they are very experienced. A lot of juniors this year that were playing a lot of sophomores last year, including that two-headed monster at tailback, John Peebles tonight. 14 carries for about 94 yards, scored 4 touchdowns. Cam Fortune had about 13 carries, kind of in the same vicinity, and he had a couple of touchdowns late in the game. Nate Merchant, very easy night for him, throwing the ball, very efficient, about 164 yards for an early touchdown, and they just got the lead early and just kept building.
Tell us more about their offense, because it seems like when they get to postseason play, their defense is there, and they seem to have maybe, some struggles later on when they get to postseason play, trying to score points against better teams to get to that ultimate place in the playoffs. What about their offense this year?
Well, they're still waiting on one of the pieces, a returning lineman. Jarius Williams still not healthy enough to play, but the offensive line is doing a really good job. Their biggest challenge right now is themselves. Not as many, illegal procedure, illegal formation penalties tonight. They had a whole bunch of them last week. I joked with Coach Barnes. I thought he was going to tear out his rotator cuff trying to throw down his headset. But a lot fewer mistakes tonight. They were without Jameer Bay, who's really become an early season playmaker at wideout. But they've got a lot of weapons, and it's just keeping these guys healthy. They're not as big on either side of the line defensively. They're definitely not very big, but they are fast. Anthony Addison was in the backfield a lot again tonight. Jordan Lowry was in the backfield a lot. Their front seven is a 3-4 defense, but those front three guys are getting in the backfield so often, and then the linebackers are just so quick that they're definitely a team to be reckoned with. They get Crestwood next week and then Somerville, so we're going to find out pretty quickly.
Wow. Okay. Hey, thanks very much, Bruce. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And try not to call us in a car wash next time. No, I'm kidding. You got a little bit of noise there on the line. Sounds like you're in a car wash. Thank you very much, my man. We appreciate you. And great job.
Right. Talk to you later.
Great job there with the report on Sumter. So we got Sumter and Somerville, David, in 2 weeks. That could be one of the big ones in the regular season in the state.
Yeah, they both will probably be in the top 5. Somerville's going to play Wando next week, and that shouldn't be a big challenge. So they'll be undefeated, and I hope that game's at Somerville because I may go to that one. But that Sumter Somerville, if you go way back into the history books in the 80s and 90s, Tom Lewis at Sumter and John McKissick at Somerville, they used to have some real classic battles. So maybe they'll rekindle that fire a little bit.
All right, let's continue with reports. Appreciate everybody calling in. And we've got Ian standing by. Hang on, Scott. Hold on, please. Going to get to you. Kevin Selman up next from T.L. Hanna. And, man, welcome in, Kevin. Westside rose up and played some good football tonight in the big rivalry game in the city of Anderson, taking down T.L. Hanna tonight. I would say surprisingly, in my eyes. Give us that final score and tell us how things went in Westside's way.
Well, the final score, first, thanks for having me, Phil. The final score was Westside 42, T.O. Hanna 30. And I wouldn't, I know you say surprise. T.O. Hanna's won a lot of football games in the last several years. But tonight, it's just one of those, it's not a good matchup for T.O. Hanna. Cutter Woods, the quarterback from Westside, is a special talent. When he's just a junior, by the time he finished his career, I think he's going to end up playing somewhere big time. He's a heck of a talent. And it was a game tonight of it wasn't as lopsided as the score might sound, 42-30. Well, Teohana had the opening kickoff, was driving down to score and fumbled the football. Interception on the first possession. Westside converted that into a touchdown, and it was a score fest all night long. Neither team punted all night long. Teohana ran 377 yards. Again, a huge night on the ground for the Rams, but neither team punted. The difference in the game was 2 turnovers that Hannah had, and Westside converted both into touchdowns. And Westside didn't have any turnovers, and neither team punted. That was the difference in the game. Just not a good matchup for Hannah, but all the credit to Westside as they beat us for the second consecutive year.
Wow. How about that? How big was your crowd?
Oh, it was huge. I know Westside Stadium holds about 10,000 people. There had to be 9,000 there. I mean, you could see a few spots here and there, but I mean, they call it the Electric City Showdown, and everybody in Anderson, the city of Anderson anyway, was there tonight supporting their team. What an awesome crowd, a big event. I mean, Westside put on a great show. It just didn't go our way tonight, but well-behaved crowd.
Yeah.
And, I bring that up because, what went on last week out in Oklahoma or Texas and all that kind of stuff. And, a bit of rivalries play, but just a well-behaved crowd that never got chippy on the football field, which says a lot about the administration of both schools, the principals, the athletic directors, the coaches. So Coach Brian Lane, it's his first year at Westside. He did a great job with his team, and congrats to them. And Coach Stone the same with the Yellow Jackets. We just got to look to rebound starting next week with the Wren Hurricanes.
Kevin, also the Red Sox lost, in case you're wondering. Yankees going to gain a game on you. That's all I care about is just finishing ahead of the Red Sox. I don't care about anything else. Just finish ahead of the Red Sox.
At this point, I'm not. I did check the score during the game. I was on the side. I was following the Clemson South Carolina soccer game, and then the Red Sox game, and a little bit of Georgia Tech and Louisville along the way. But just one of them nights for the Yellow Jackets, and hope we start a 4-game homestand next week with Wren. So I hope we can get back on track.
All right, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad you mentioned those events. Thank you, Kevin. Clemson beat South Carolina men's soccer tonight 2-0. And Louisville has come back. They were trailing at the half. They're now leading Georgia Tech in the fourth quarter, 29-28. And Kansas is leading Missouri State 34-17. Check out a few college scores here. Miami beats Miami of Ohio 38-3. Michigan State beats Central Michigan 31-7. Back to our great reporters out in their fields. Let's go to Ian Guerin from South Carolina Prep Zone, joining us here on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Ian, welcome in. What game were you at tonight down there?
I was at Philip Simmons at Georgetown tonight. Philip Simmons won 48-14 thanks to another strong rushing performance from KJ Ashbury and Sherrod Williams. Ashbury had 143 yards and 3 touchdowns on 7 carries, and Sherrod Williams had 99 yards on the ground, another 8 or 10 in the air, 3 combined touchdowns. So that's 11 touchdowns for the 2 of them in the last 2 weeks playing football games on the Grand Strand.
A team that really loves to run the football, this Philip Simmons team, they're just going to line up and try and run it over you. Is that their approach?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're going with right now. I talked with Coach Eric Bendig after the game and kind of asked him, how long he thought it was going to be until somebody just throws 8 in the box, and he didn't hesitate. He said, next week when we play Timberland, that's what they're going to do. So, they've got 2 quarterbacks in Tavian Orlana and Max Stafford who can throw the ball a little bit, and Tavian is the starter and, maybe doesn't have quite as strong of an arm. He did throw a couple, 1 touchdown tonight, had a couple really nice passes, but they just didn't need to. Georgetown is a team that hasn't won a game in 3 years. They're really struggling to kind of build things back up under Bradley Adams. They showed some glimpses tonight. They had a 7-minute drive in the first quarter, and, it was 14-7 at the end of the quarter, and things are, at least they get some positivity out of it. But, in the long haul, this is a team that, you can tell they haven't spent a lot of time in the weight room the last few years. You can tell that, maybe discipline was an issue at times. So, it was kind of like a complete rebuild. They have some pieces. I mean, they've got, a reserve defensive lineman who's 6'7", 270, but, they haven't put it all together. They will turn things around. It'll probably be sooner rather than later, but they're going to take some lumps along the way.
Great job, Ian. As always, tell folks about the website you guys have going on with your reporters around the state.
Yeah, prepredzone.com/South Carolina. There's 6 of us, 2 in the Midlands, 1 in the upstate, 1 in York, and 1 down in Beaufort. And then, of course, I'm over here in the Myrtle Beach area. So, yeah, we're 6 of us. We're pumping out an absolute ton of content. So, love to be able to share that, we've had a really great 6 months of, our subscriptions being added, and that's allowed us to kind of stretch our legs a little bit and see as many teams. We've got an edict, during non-region play to do everything possible not to see the same team twice. And so I think right now we've already covered 40-something different teams in the first, 3 weeks of the season.
Well, we appreciate you and your guys jumping on with us. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Be safe, guys.
You too, buddy. All right, Ian Guerin from, I never get the name right, Prep Red Zone here in South Carolina. Real good coverage. And another organization doing a great job covering high school sports here in South Carolina. We will get back to more reports and more scores. And stay tuned for that. Tell you what we've got in here most recently, just a few other final scores coming in as we go to our break. I'll tell you that Batesburg-Leesville beat Ridge Spring Monetta 56-12. Providence Athletic Club over New Hope Leadership Academy 36-0. And Burns beats Greenville 37-14. And we'll be right back.
Looking for a way to fight back against inflation? One viable way to help your money stay relevant during inflation is through investing. To a new investor, investing can feel like a puzzle. With so many pieces to consider, it can be hard to know where to start. But with the right guidance along the way, you can put the pieces together to create a winning strategy. That's where Founders Investment Services come in. Our team of financial advisors can help you navigate the complexities of investing and create a personalized plan that fits your goals and risk tolerance. We'll work with you to identify the pieces of your puzzle and how they fit into your financial future. When you're ready to find the pieces to your financial plan, call 866-739-7064 to speak with one of our specialists, or visit foundersfcuinvestments.com to learn about how we can help you identify the key pieces to your financial plans. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC, and not NCUA insured. Not guaranteed by credit union and may lose value.
If you're looking to stay hydrated this summer, turn toward a southern favorite, sweet South Carolina watermelons. One slice is equivalent to a glass of water and is just as effective as sports drinks for hydration. If you don't believe us, you can ask the Palmetto State's top football teams. The SC Watermelon Association will be serving up slices after summer practice to keep our teams fueled and hydrated. Visit scwatermelon.org for all the details and look for ripe South Carolina watermelons in your hometown.
All right, back we are here on the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Let's get back to the phones before we get to the top of the hour, and David Shelton standing by as well. And we go to Scott Keeler with us next. And let's see, Scott, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate you joining us. And I believe, remind me where you were tonight.
I was at Southside Christian watching Abbeville.
There you go. Yep, Southside Christian, Abbeville. Tell us about it, my man.
Well, Abbeville scored a late touchdown, went for 2 and won it. That's kind of what they do these days, apparently.
Come from behind and pull it out at the end, huh?
But, they were down 27-3 at the half last week. Powdersville won 35-34 in overtime on a 2-point conversion. I think they forced overtime on a last-second field goal.
And this week they were down 21-7 at Southside Christian and got 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The last one came with 56 seconds left. And the same young man that scored the 2-point conversion last week, Carson Norman, scored the game-winning 2-point conversion again this week.
Now, did they keep it on the ground and do what they do on the ground to come from behind? Did they go to the air more? What did they do? What did Coach Nichols do?
You know what? He pressed all the right buttons again. They had a couple of passes here and there, but the first touchdown that got them on the board tonight was a 15-play drive, 14 runs, 1 incompletion. And the game-winning drive was a 15-play drive, 14 runs, 1 incompletion. And the starting quarterback, Jay Hill, who's a fine quarterback, who runs the show very well, they made it. They took him out and put in a tall kid named DeMarcus Leach at quarterback the last 2 drives. He led him down the field for the score that got him within 7, and then the game winner too. So.
A tough loss for Southside Christian. We know they're a good team. I think they've lost a couple of times in the first 3 weeks, have they not?
Yeah, they lost to Commerce, Georgia, Commerce High in Georgia. I think that's a pretty traditional power down in Georgia by 2 weeks ago. They had the game last week canceled, and then they're off again this next week. So they're having some trouble kind of building consistency just from not playing as well. The biggest thing tonight was it was a close game, and the team that runs the ball the best won the game.
Yeah.
Southside Christian plays 2 quarterbacks, one of which is a kid named Carson Bowman, who's one of the best baseball players in the country. He's a sophomore who's already committed to Wake Forest to play baseball.
Ooh.
And he can throw some fastballs with the pigskin as well. But they had the lead most of the night, and they only got sacked once, but they had minus 17 yards rushing. And obviously Abbeville had 332, like Abbeville typically does. And that was kind of the difference.
Scott, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Scott covering tonight for the Upstate Papers. Is that who you're working for tonight?
No, it's a new website Jed Blackwell and I have created called Harrison's Huddle.
Okay.
And we're just two old newspaper guys that are trying to still do our thing because we love high school sports. Jed kind of does the best, or one of the best games in Spartanburg County each week, and I do the same for Greenville County.
Super.
And we just started a couple weeks ago, but we do capsules for each game in the county. Every Spartanburg County team gets a capsule from him, and every Greenville County team gets their game capsule from me, and then we go. We're only 2 of us, so we can only be at 1 game each week, but we try our best. So.
Well, that is fantastic. Tell folks how they can get to your website.
It's harrisonshuddle.com.
Harrison? Who is Harrison?
We both work for Harrison's Workwear. We've got 2 locations in Spartanburg and Malden, and we have the blessing of our owner to do this. He recognizes the importance of high school sports around here. We've got stores in North Carolina as well, but 2 in South Carolina are in Spartanburg and Malden. So.
Well, that's great. Well, sometimes see if you can twist Jeb's arm and tell him to give us a call after his game.
I sure will.
Appreciate you, man. Call us next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Scott Keeler. That's great. David, another outlet covering high school sports here in South Carolina.
Can never be enough.
Can never be enough.
We gotta have people. We need high school sports coverage.
We do. And people are picking it up all over the place. So we appreciate that. Okay. Gonna hit a break, and let's see. Chris, hang on. We'll get to you. I promise, Sam. Hang in there. We'll get to you. Monty, hold on. We're going to hit a quick break at the top of the hour. We want to get y'all's reports on the other side. Come right to you when we come back.
The point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107. The point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Tasha Stevens. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he does not plan on meeting with President Biden when he comes to survey hurricane damage in Florida. Friday, Biden announced plans to travel to Florida over the weekend to meet with the governor, but a few hours later, DeSantis' office said that it doesn't have any plans for the governor to meet with the president during that time. Biden's been criticized for his lack of response following previous disasters involving train derailments and the fires in Maui. Gas prices set to hit record highs this Labor Day weekend. The current record for Labor Day $3.84 a gallon. That was set in 2012. Right now, it's sitting at $3.83. Well, AAA says Labor Day holiday travelers are heading to various destinations, and it's not just the beach.
A lot of the travel that we are seeing as well is up in the cooler destinations, cooler weather. So Pacific Northwest, Seattle. Seattle's big because of the cruises that head up to Alaska. This is the end of Alaska cruise season. So that's also a very popular destination right now. Canada is super popular right now with Americans because it's a really nice time to go visit Canada.
Also, at townhall.com, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York laying the groundwork to blame House Republicans for an expected government shutdown.
In a letter to his Democrat colleague, Schumer writes that any shutdown will be the result of what he calls political games by House Republicans. Fiscal House conservatives are demanding 2024 spending cuts deeper than those already agreed to by Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the White House back in May. And they vowed not to budge, even if the budget stalemate leads to a shutdown at the end of the month. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has said the Senate GOP will not support House calls for deeper than agreed to cuts. Bob Agnew reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
The roof was completely gone. All of our memories being wiped away.
The rain is what got 20 minutes of sheer terror.
You can feel it in your body.
I watched the fire move down the canyon.
The rumbling of the house. My son started screaming, we're going to die, we're going to die. In the name of Jesus, we are not going to die.
At Samaritan's Purse, we bring spiritual and physical aid to hurting people around the world. We go into dangerous situations because in disaster, in disease, in war, Jesus calls us to love our neighbor, to heal the sick, feed the hungry, restore the broken. All who work and volunteer with Samaritan's Purse follow the example of Jesus. We go to serve, not to be served. And we go in Jesus' name. Join us at SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
Japan's government is imposing sanctions.
Japan's chief cabinet secretary says the sanctions, in tandem with the U.S. and South Korea, are in response to North Korea's recent attempt to launch a spy satellite and the firing of 2 missiles this week. United Nations Security Council resolutions ban any North Korean launches using ballistic missile technologies. Japan, the U.S., and South Korea are stepping up their strategic three-way cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region to jointly deal with their shared concern of growing threats from North Korea and China.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Hurricane Idalia's fast track over a sparsely populated region means that Florida's insurance industry isn't expected to take nearly the hit it took with previous storms. In the 2 days after Ian, the state reported more than 62,000 claims. This time around, they only received around 3,000. News and analysis at townhall.com.
This is Ian with AccuClean. With fall in sight, it's time to refresh and clean your carpets and upholstery. Whether it's pet stains or dirt buildup from everyday use, we've got you. AccuClean is a veteran-owned and local carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning company that's been here in the Midlands for over 20 years. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202. That is AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and whatever, just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the High School Football Scoreboard here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, JP Barry coming to you from our Columbia studios, and David Shelton coming to us from the Low Country. And I promised we'd get quickly back to our reporters because probably most of them want to get home, put their feet up, and drink a beer or two after a long, hard, sweaty night in a press box or on the sidelines. The sweatiest of them all, Chris Deering, who's been holding for a while. That beer is still cold, however, my friend. Welcome in. How are you?
Man, I'm sitting at my kitchen table with the beer. What you talking about?
Hey, we're just doing a little celebration that we got you on the air in the first take.
Yeah, it took 3 weeks, but it finally happened, and I think with good things in their hands for the rest of the season.
Very positive, very positive. Where were you tonight?
I was over at Hammond, where they play Gray Collegiate. A lot of Gray Collegiate tonight. They're really good. I hadn't seen them yet this year, obviously, so I was glad to get over there and see them play. And they have an impressive group. There's no question about it. And this was a 17-14 game in the second quarter, and they just after that point they just sort of flexed their muscle and pulled away. I'm gonna mention a kid that I talked to him after the game. He does not have any offers, and I just don't quite understand it. I mean, I talked to coaches on both sides tonight. They all were impressed with this kid, Jamarius Lockett from Gray Collegiate. I think last week he had 4 touchdown catches. Tonight he had 2 touchdown catches, had 5 catches overall, 133 yards, and had an interception on defense. The kid can play. I mean, he's about 6'1", 6'6'1", 190 pounds, and he's one of the better athletes I've seen so far this year.
Well, you can't talk about Gray without talking about the news that came out earlier this week about teams not wanting to play them in their region, willing to forfeit. Much talk about that in the press box, sidelines, among the fans that you heard. Any feedback?
Well, Coach Holmes addressed that at the end of the game. He was asked by a reporter about that situation, and he said if the teams want to forfeit and just give them the region championship, and with that comes home field advantage in the playoffs. That region winner has home field advantage for the entire playoffs as long as they keep winning. And he said, so be it. He thinks he's got a couple games lined up if these two teams do actually forfeit. And they, it's unfortunate. I don't like the forfeit situation, but I understand the stance that the traditional public schools are taking. So I see both sides of the argument. Right now, Gray knows they play Camden next week, and after that, it's a little bit of uncertainty what they do with the rest of their season.
David, you want to chime in on this? Any fresh opinion, any fresh thoughts over this issue that cropped back up this week in the story that Lou had?
No, I mean, I agree with Chris. I can see both sides. I can see teams not wanting to play because of the competitive advantage situation. But man, it's hard for me as a competitor, if I'm a coach, to just not play. And I understand why they won't, because some people around the state are really cheering for all those schools up there, because it will start it's a tremor right now, but it will be a quake. You'll see schools not wanting to play Oceanside, maybe Christchurch or whoever. So I applaud them for taking a stand. I just don't like the forfeit thing. And this all started in the spring with soccer and softball, and some of those scores were outrageous. I don't know how good Fairfield Central is in Newberry, but I don't think Gray would embarrass them. But they're just making a stand. They're taking a stand and saying, we're not playing you because you have a competitive advantage. And that has to be addressed, and it will be by the executive committee and by the people around the state that make these decisions. But it's really not a good look. When you look nationally, other states are looking at us going, what? Y'all just letting teams forfeit?
Yeah.
It's just that's not a good look.
Let me ask both of you, because I looked into this week. I looked at their roster, and I counted about 34 guys on the Gray roster, so it's not like they got 50, 60 guys. And I looked up and down, and I cover recruiting. I pay attention to this stuff.
and I've been following them. And look, it's not a program that produces a ton, if any, major college football players. I can remember that fast running back who went to Georgia State. But unless I'm forgetting somebody off the top of my head, now I know they got the Boulware young man who's in the 26 class who's got a chance to develop into a player, Chris. But you see him. But what makes them so much better? It just seems to me like they don't, from a recruiting standpoint, at the very least, it's not like they're blowing up with a bunch of talent at that level that would overwhelm other teams, even though they do overwhelm other teams.
I had a long conversation with Adam Holmes, the coach at Great Collegiate, earlier this year, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. It was right before the season started. And, he brought up the fact that really and truly, Gray has not produced, like you said, any Power 5 kids in his tenure. They've been solid kids. They've been good players. They've played at the next level. You mentioned KZ Adams, who actually was at the game tonight. Mm-hmm. Georgia State played last night. He's probably the highest profile guy that they've had, and he's at Georgia State. And Coach Holmes said, maybe it's our scheme, maybe it's what we're doing, but nobody wants to focus on that. They want to focus on the competitive advantage and everything else. And I can tell you, I stood on the Gray sideline in the second half, most of the second half, and I had one of their coaches tell me they are going out every game to make a statement. This is their motto for this season. They're making a statement every game they do get a chance to play. And he said, and we will be standing in December. So they're a confident bunch. On the 2A level, I know Abbeville had a big comeback win tonight. Fairfield Central actually lost to Chester tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the playoffs roll around. And, what if Fairfield and Gray do meet each other in the playoffs after the forfeit during the regular season? So there's just a lot to shake out. Again, you make a great point. They don't have a lot of Power 5. They don't have Power 5 kids. They're just getting it done. And I made a comment tonight. Perry Orth, who former South Carolina quarterback, he coaches at Cardinal Newman now. He was on the sideline. I was talking to him a little bit, and I said, I'm willing to bet you guys dress out more than what Gray has dressed out right now. Mm-hmm. He said, yeah, I think I agree with that. And I think Hammond had more players dressed out than Gray did. So like I said, it's only about 30, 34 players dressed out for them each week, and they're just getting it done. A lot of those guys go both ways. I know KZ Adams went both ways when he was there. The Lockett kid tonight, he went both ways. So they just got there's good, solid football players, and they're making it work. And Coach Holmes might be right. Maybe they're just coaching them up better than everybody else.
All right, Chris, thank you, man. Great job. Enjoy that cold one, whatever it happens to be. Might be iced tea. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Y'all have a great weekend.
Chris Deering, thank you. Chris Deering from the Prep Red Zone, South Carolina. I'll say this too, David. You put Phil Strickland back as head coach at Newberry. Is he going to consider a forfeit to anybody?
I would doubt it.
Yeah.
I would doubt it. And, this is an interesting point you were making about, prospects. Paul Rooney, for years, people have accused Paul Rooney at Bishop England of recruiting girl basketball players. Mm-hmm. He has coached 40-something years and has never had a Division I signee out of his program. So he's like, if I'm recruiting, I'm not doing a very good job. But they coach him.
Yeah.
It's coaching does make a difference. And, the system that Gray has, and they're wide open and they're very explosive. It'll be interesting if it gets down, maybe Abbeville has to go to Gray at the end of the season in the playoff.
Grayson of Georgia, Loganville, Georgia, has beaten Fort Dorchester again 2 years in a row, 41-0 this time, David. It was ugly last year. It's uglier this year, 41-0.
Yeah, They don't need to schedule them no more.
No, they need to quit making that trip to Atlanta. It ain't doing them any good. Back to our reporters we go. Thank you for the patience. We go to, is it Monty? Is it Monty Dutton yet? Next in line after Chris? Or is it Sam? Sam Albuquerque? With the best name in prep coverage in South Carolina, Sam Albuquerque. Sam, is that you, sir? That might be somebody else. Is that Monty? Monty, is that you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
That's Monty. Okay. We pushed the wrong button. That's fine. Jump up and do your thing. Monty, welcome in. Clinton took it to Newberry tonight in the rivalry game.
Yes, Clinton and Newberry first played in 1920. So they gave a big belt to the winner, and I guess Clinton gave a big belt to Newberry. But one thing that's surprising, first of all, Clinton looks great, but they are heavy. But they had one their leading returning rusher go down with a knee injury last week, and they had a fine rusher go down with a collarbone tonight. So that's a concern. But Clinton has a quarterback that no one knows about. He didn't play any last year, but he's really good. And believe it or not, we had a quarterback, Sean Richardson, who had 10 of 15 passes for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was intercepted once against Newberry. But, I mean, it wasn't radically different for the Red Devils because Clinton rushed for 236 yards and had 377 total. But the game was 7-7 early after Bryce Satterwhite of Newberry threw a 73-yard touchdown pass that just was a busted coverage on Clinton's part. But the Red Devils dominated from there. And as I said, they ran the ball well, and I think that maybe the fact that they're getting thin on running backs might make people notice that the quarterback's really good and they have outstanding receivers. Zay Johnson, who's a defensive back who's committed to Cincinnati, is an outstanding wide receiver on offense, and so is Caden Richardson. And Clinton has been effective throwing all year, but in the opening game it was 5 of 6. But 10 of 15 for a Clinton High team is sort of like 33 for 48 for a lot of schools. By the way, Clinton had a pick 6 for the second week in a row. And I think since you and I saw 2 pick 6s at Furman last night,
you're right.
I think it may be us.
That my record for you. 3 pick 6s in 24 hours or less.
Well, and 4 in a week.
That's pretty good. I tell you what, if Clinton develops a passing attack, that's got to put fear in every defensive coordinator who's getting ready to play them the rest of the season.
Well, they have a passing attack. It's just that they still run very effectively and prefer to do so. But that makes the passing attack more dangerous because people have to respect the run.
Yeah. Monty, thank you so much. Great seeing you last night up at Furman, and we'll talk to you next week.
By the way, Phil?
Yeah?
Phil, I saw something at Furman that's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Okay.
Furman's punter last night averaged 51.2 yards with a long punt of 52.
How many times did he punt?
Every single punt was approximately 50 yards.
That's consistency, I'd say.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a stat is that precise. 51.2 with an average with a longest of 52.
That's a strong leg right there. Monty, thanks much, my man. Talk to you next week.
All right, bye.
Always appreciate you. Monty Dutton, great report. David, if Clinton gets the passing game going with that running game, look out. They're going to be a tough out all the way down the line.
Well, they're going to be a tough out, and they're pretty good on defense. And he mentioned those receivers / DB types, very athletic guys. So they're going to be right there in the end. I mean, they're going to they need to get healthy. They need to get some of these guys back, but they're going to be in there at the end.
All right, let's take one more call before our break, and this should be Sam Albuquerque. Certainly hope. Sam, this is you?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, first of all, man, I got to tell you, I feel for you. Having to go through life spelling Albuquerque every time you write your name. I mean, that's punishing on the fingers.
Yeah, fourth grade, third grade me had some trouble with it, but I finally got it down when I hit middle school, so we're all good now.
Tell you a funny story. When Joe Morrison had his press conference, you know who Joe Morrison is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, Joe Morrison was once the football coach at South Carolina. Before he came to South Carolina, this is in the 80s. Before he came to South Carolina, he coached at Chattanooga, UT Chattanooga, and New Mexico, where he lived in Albuquerque. And one of his funniest lines ever in his opening press conference at South Carolina, when he got up and he said, "Thank you to everybody." He said, "I just want you to know, after living in Chattanooga and Albuquerque, I'm just happy to be someplace where I can spell the hometown."
Yeah. Unfortunately, never been to Albuquerque. That's one of my bucket list items to do.
Gotta be. You were at the Burns game tonight.
Yep, Greenville at Burns. Burns gets the win, 37-14 or 34-7. They won by about 20 points. And it was a really impressive win by Burns, especially after last week when they go to Inman and lose to Chapman 17-14. Those guys were they heard all the noise throughout the week. They knew that they were going to get a lot of criticism from that Rebel fan base who is very vocal on social media, and they came out and they punched Greenville in the mouth after a scoreless first quarter. The second quarter is when the floodgates opened. They scored 3 touchdowns, and senior quarterback, first-year starter Andrew Stevens really showed out through 4 total touchdown passes, and the Rebels showed that they're one of the most talented teams in the area. And
the Bennett kid for Greenville, the Gamecock commitment, the wide receiver, went down with an injury. Do you know more?
Yeah, so he laid a hit on a Burns player, and it looked like it was a head injury. We're not really sure specifics. Halftime I went down from the press box, talked to a couple of my sources on the Greenville side, and one coach told me when I asked him if Bennett was coming back tonight, he just looked at me, laughed, and said, "Hell no." Mm-hmm. And so it's from what I've been able to gather, he's okay. It's just that he was not going to come back tonight, and I've heard rumors. I can't confirm. I don't know exactly what the deal is with the injury. But from my vantage point, from what I saw, it looked like a head injury, and he did not play the rest of the game after that.
All right, that's tough news there. Hopefully not a concussion or anything like that. It'll keep him out an extended period. Sam with the Greenville News. Folks can read his coverage. You can read him at greenvilleonline.com, and I guess your papers that you work with across the upstate, correct?
Yes, sir. So the Herald Journal over in Spartanburg, Greenville News, and Anderson Independent Mail.
Fantastic.
You'll find me doing all 3 of those.
Y'all do a great job. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, Phil.
Thank you. Sam Albuquerque. Great name, David. Why don't you change your name, David, to let's think for a second. How about David Montana?
How about David Tampa? That's where I was born, Tampa, Florida.
David Tampa. I like that.
David Tampa. That'll be my ghostwriter's name, David Tampa.
David Tampa. Sam Albuquerque. What a great name. All right, we're going to go to the break. We'll get back for more reports, and we're going to go through all the scores, too. Everybody hang in there. Scotts Branch and Great Falls, that game was canceled, we're told. Scotts Branch pulled out due to weather concerns. Where?
Yeah, they got a lot of rain.
Oh, was the game supposed to be down in the Scotts Branch area?
I think there's a lot of rain over that way.
Yeah, okay. All right. So
Woodland had to cancel their game, too.
Okay.
And Woodland had major rain.
All right, hang on. Be right back.
Investing can be like a puzzle. There's so many pieces to consider, and it can be hard to know where to start. But with the right guidance, you can put the pieces together to create a winning strategy. That's where Founders Investment Services come in. Our team of financial advisors can help you navigate the complexities of investing and create a personalized plan that fits your goals and risk tolerance. We'll work with you to identify the pieces of your puzzle and how they fit into your financial future. Call 866-739-7064 or visit foundersfcuinvestments.com to learn more about how we can help you take the first step towards reaching your financial goals. Securities offered through LPL Financial.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, Gamecocks love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at experiencecolumbiasc.com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
All right, folks, let's get started. Parents, thanks for coming. As many of you know, I'm Coach Mather. Tonight I want to talk about the season, of which I only have one expectation, that everybody gets stronger. When I say get stronger, I'm not referring solely to physical strength. Sure, we'll be in the weight room, we'll be running stairs, but we're also going to focus on developing mental toughness and grit, because those are the characteristics that allow us to achieve greatness both on and off the court. So how do we develop those things? By getting comfortable with a challenge, by cultivating the confidence necessary to overcome adversity in all forms. That's why I coach. That's my purpose. Every member of this team can lean on me, and I'll teach them how they can lean on themselves and each other.
This message presented by the SCHSL and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Okay, let's see if we can get in another report before the bottom of the hour break, and then we'll continue with reports on the other side. And so we will go next to Alex Smith, the better-looking brother of Maddie Smith, joining us here. Story on that Dorman game tonight, Dorman and Greenwood. And Greenwood gets a very big win for them, 10-7. Eagles over the Cavs. Hello, Alex.
Hey, Phil, thanks for having me on. First things first, let me apologize for such a boring last name. I know you've had a run of some interesting guys coming on.
Yeah.
But now you're stuck with another Smith.
That's easy to spell.
Yeah, there you go. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Tonight the Cavaliers made the trip down to Greenwood. It was a defensive struggle for the entire ball game, as you can tell by the final score. The first points were scored with less than 10 seconds to go in the first half, and a big win for Greenwood. Obviously, Dorman fans a little bit disappointed, but this Greenwood team that has been a little bit down, at least by their standards, the last few seasons, they've changed the offense up. They're still very run heavy. They just do it out of more of a shotgun and spread formation. But the quarterback, Tristan Lewis for Greenwood, the tailback, Tank Gray, and if you're nicknamed Tank, you got a lot to live up to. He most certainly did tonight. 150 yards on the ground, most of them between the tackles. And just Dorman never could get any rhythm going offensively tonight. It seemed like every time they had some momentum and a drive put together, a bad penalty or a bad snap would put them behind the sticks, and they could never recover. So Dorman, not a great night for them, but you're right, a big win for Greenwood.
Absolutely, and you're talking about a win that might, project them onto some big things. And now Dorman's got to get back to work, and obviously the defense played well. Got to get that offense going. Alex, we appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you so much, Phil.
Appreciate the report. Alex Smith, I could have sworn that was Matt Smith when I first put him on the air. God, they sound alike, a lot alike. Well, they're brothers. And they're both trained in the art of talking on the radio. Thank you, Alex. Great job. We appreciate it. And we'll be back after this break.
Pet stains or dirt buildup from everyday use? We've got you. AccuClean is a veteran-owned and local carpet, rug, and upholstery cleaning company that's been here in the Midlands for over 20 years. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202. That is AccuClean at 803-957-1202. I'll see you soon.
I'm Kimberly Cockrell from Lexington.
I work closely now with MAD South Carolina. In 1993, my best friend Nancy was killed in a drunk driving crash. MAD was there for me and will be there for you if you've been affected by a drunk or drugged crash.
Friends, this is Kevin Cohen. If you've been impacted by one of these tragedies, let MAD help you. Online, it's mad.org or call them 748-7333. That's 748-7333 for MAD.
Investigation into the government's response to the Lahaina wildfire. Hawaii Attorney General Ann Lopez made that announcement Friday about the three-phase investigation that will take about 12 months to complete. This is SRN News.
Let's be real, retirement is expensive, and inflation is making it even harder with the cost of everything going up from pet food to a dozen eggs. Wouldn't it be great if the cost of your health care could go down? Well, Medishare 65 Plus is $99 a month for ages 65 to 74. And for many with Medicare Parts A and B looking at other options, that's 50% or more saved per month. No gimmicks. It's $99 a month, and you can use any Medicare-approved doctor or facility, and you get 24/7 access to telehealth from the convenience of your home. Better yet, Medishare is a Christian nonprofit organization. It's a community that'll pray for you and encourage you. And since we've cut out the middleman, you get to keep.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago that spending my marketing dollars at the point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local to partner with him in 2023 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results, and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
You know, nothing puts you in a better mood than fight songs. Marching band fight songs. I like marching band fight songs. By the way, tonight in college football, while we're talking about scores and things like that, tell you what happened. Louisville, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had it, lost it. Louisville wins it 39-34. A new ACC member, Stanford, celebrating their admission into the ACC, leading Hawaii 7-0. Got to start paying attention to the Cardinal. I don't know, a team without a real mascot, a team with a tree for their mascot. Going to fit right in the ACC, David. What do you think?
I hope they join Region 6 4A. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of stupid things in my life.
Yes, you have. Kansas 48, Missouri State 17. All right, back to reporters, and then we're going to catch up on all the scores and get David's thoughts on some of the big games. So we have Garrett Mitchell with us next. Garrett from up in the upstate, Woodruff, play-by-play of Woodruff tonight. And Garrett, welcome into the program, High School Scoreboard. Great to have you with us.
Hey, great to be here, Phil. Always appreciate you having me on every Friday.
Yes, sir. What you got for us tonight?
Well, it was a bit of a tough night for the Wolverines tonight. There's really, honestly, no way to really sugarcoat this one. JL Man won 40-0. And I tell you what, we knew going into the year how young that Woodruff would be. 2 starters returned on offense, 2 on defense, 4 total. And you just had an entirely new team with a new coaching staff, different players and roles for the first time. And frankly, Woodruff's got about 7 or 8 sophomores that are filling key positions. One of their top 2 running backs is a freshman. Big kid, 6'2" to 185 pounds. He's going to be a really good one. But sometimes freshmen and sophomores play like freshmen and sophomores. And credit to JL Man. They punched the Wolverines in the mouth tonight, and they facilitated that action on the field. So credit to them. Tough night for Woodruff. They'll have to rebound quick. Good BHP team next.
Yeah. Let me say this about Man, though. They're getting better, right? Last year, I think they took some steps forward, and they're continuing to build this year.
They are. And it's a 5A program in JL Man who traditionally has not had a lot of success. But I think their coaching staff in there now, I think they've been established there for 3 or 4 years now. And they've really built a nice core of talent. And this was a JL Man team that returned, I believe, 17 or 18 starters from a team last year that went 7-5 and really had a good year. So their defensive front 4 is really, really good. And if you saw them there, I mean, these are probably 3 of these guys will play on the college level somewhere. They've got a lot of speed in the skill positions and a system that works for those guys. So they're 3-0 for a reason. And they've only given up 14 points, I believe, or 21 points in 3 games combined. So they're doing something right. I mean, they'll make some noise on the 5A level, and I would advise anyone not to overlook them.
Yeah. Okay, Garrett, thanks as always, man. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.
Sounds great, Phil. You as well. We'll talk next Friday.
Thank you. David, we talked, I remember last year about JL Man and also Riverside and how those 2 programs, which in recent years have been down, have all of a sudden sort of perked up and started to play some very competitive football.
Yeah, I think Riverside has kind of maybe come back a little bit, but JL Man has continued that progress, and they're winning some non-region games. They certainly should have beat Woodruff tonight. We'll see once you get into the thick of the region and stuff like that. But and especially in the playoffs, there's some pretty good teams that JL Man will have to get through. But having said that, for many, 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 many years, they were 1-win, 2-win type teams, and now they're very competitive and putting up winning records, and that's good. I mean, that's what it's all about, is finding the right mix of kids, finding the right mix of coaches, and making the most of it.
Yeah, I should mention again, if you weren't listening earlier, David, that Latta, home of champions, one of the few 3-0 teams in the state. If Latta is not ranked this week in the 1A poll, there's going to be some fighting going on out there.
Well, I think I'd have to look back. I don't want to say that I did rank them in the top 10 in my poll, but I'd have to. But I'll definitely rank them this week. I will rank. They're 3-0, and some Class A teams are losing some games. How about Bamberg Earhart bouncing back tonight?
Yeah,
they beat Barnwell 17-7 after getting shocked by Denmark Olar last week.
Yeah, that was a good win for them. Okay, we bounce back to Thomas Grant. Thomas working for Prep Red Zone, South Carolina. I've called that thing 10 different names, trying to get it right. Sort of like Twitter. Some people still call it Twitter. I call it X. Some people still say tweet. I call it a post because that's what Elon says to call it. He says call it a post and a repost, not a tweet and a retweet. Thomas, welcome in. Where were you tonight?
I was over at WC Hawkins Stadium covering the Irmo River Bluff game. But before I go into that, I was hearing y'all talk about Stanford in the ACC.
Yeah.
Funny, you had me flashing back to 20 years ago when I had to actually sit next to that Stanford mascot when they were playing South Carolina State in the NCAA tournament. So, needless to say, I agree with you. How fans going to react to watching that mascot, it's going to be very interesting.
Well, let me say this, too. If you don't know Stanford, I mean, let's just face it. You know, it's a very strong left liberal part of the country and program, and their band has, shall we say, well, very low taste, I guess you could say, depending on where your tastes are. And I can't imagine when Clemson plays out there for the first time how brutal the band is going to be towards Clemson and their fans, I would think, unless they're under orders to be respectful. Because generally speaking, they're not very respectful. That's what makes their band so appealing and newsworthy, because they do, strange things in their halftime shows, or they have in the past. I guess they still are. But anyway, go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, just talking about tonight's game. It's compared to 2-0 teams going at it. We thought it was going to be a game, or it's going to be real competitive, and it started out that way with River Bluff basically running the football, had a lot of success, got inside the red zone with Irmo, but then on a second down pass, Parker Murray had a wide open Stephen Collier and just overthrew him. And then the next play, he threw a screen pass and then stripped away and ended up getting fumbled and recovered by Irmo. And really, that was the game from there, because from that point on, Irmo just basically dominated the rest of the way. You had they went on that drop. They took the ball, and then on that next drive, preceding drive, A.J. Brand runs in for a 35-yard touchdown. And that was the first of his 5 touchdowns on the night. 4 from passing. He had 2 passing to Donovan Murphy, the transfer from out of Maryland, including a second highlight reel-like catch where he caught it between 2 defenders. He also threw 2 touchdowns to Caleb Alexander. But the funny thing is, the guy who's probably the offensive player of the night, and he didn't even score, was running back Jaden Allen Hendricks, the transfer out of Gilbert, who rushed for 204 yards tonight on 26 carries. And he's a guy who's 6'2", 225 pounds of mostly muscle. And when he comes at you running as a freight train, it's just literally, it takes about 3 or 4 guys to bring this kid down. I mean, he's even said it to himself. He believes he's the most physical running back in the state, and I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. I mean, even Coach Harden would tell you it's like he's a real tough haul to bring down. And so, ended up being that Irmo ended up winning 42-0 to prove on 3-0. And when you look at this team offensively, when you have 3 guys who are playmakers in Brand at quarterback, with Allen Henderson in the backfield, and then also with Donovan Murphy, wide receiver, the main thing you have to do, and then tonight, the one thing they've also done a better job with is finishing games, because that was one of the things that hurt them last year. Now, the one negative tonight was the fact that they had 7 holding penalties on the offensive line, including one of the offensive linemen was ended up getting ejected in the fourth quarter after he got too aggressive, or basically started mouthing off at the official, from what I understand. So now they get a week off, and they get ready for on the 15th to go up to Kellytown where they'll play Hartsville. So that's going to be another test for them. And just from there, we just have to see if they can defensive. And also, they had on defense, they forced 4 turnovers, including 3 interceptions. So if they can defense can sort of do what they've done these previous 3 games and to go along with the offense, I mean, you have to really figure that Irmo is going to be a factor going into the postseason, and particularly for you look at that region itself. I mean, that's just going to be a gauntlet with Ridgeview, with AC4. I know Lugoff won tonight as well. I mean, and also Westwood. So it's going to be. I think a lot of people you need to start taking a look at really seriously at this Irmo team.
Oh, no doubt about it. Especially with a quarterback as good as Brand, you got to pay attention. And a great head coach who came in from North Carolina and has really revitalized things. Thomas, thank you very much. Terrific reports. And we'll hear from you next week. So Irmo and Hartsville next week at Kelly. Say again?
That's actually in 2 weeks. Irmo has a bye next week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the next game on the 15th in Kellytown.
2 weeks in Kellytown. Wow. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Thomas. I tell you what, David, if you're a season ticket holder in Hartsville, you had Camden this week. You got Irmo coming in a couple of weeks. That's money well spent.
Right, and Irmo is a contender. That'll be a great test. That'll be a playoff type matchup. Mid-September type game. Just before you get into region play. That'll be an interesting game.
Looking forward to it. All right, let's go to Dennis Brunson very quickly before we hit our final break, because Dennis has been working hard tonight out in the fields, and he is with us. And Dennis, welcome in. Remind me again which game you were at tonight, sir.
I was in Kellytown tonight, Phil.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Okay, great.
And it was, Hartsville just put on a show tonight. You had 2 undefeated teams. Camden hadn't given up a defensive touchdown, or hadn't given up an offensive touchdown in 2 games that had forced 14 turnovers, and Hartsville just ran through them. Almost 600 yards of total offense, 452 on the ground, and then quarterback McKendry Douglas, he threw for 150, only 2 incomplete passes, only 2 negative rushing plays out of 58 plays. So no punts. It was just they just ran right through Camden and shut them down. They had Camden go 3 and out on his first possession, then drove 51 yards for a touchdown, and then Jabari and Co picked off Grayson White and returned it to the 7 for Hartsville. They go in on the next play, go up 13-0. And then Camden did score, make it 13-6, but then they just never had a clue as to how to stop Hartsville. 13 runs of 10 or more yards. They were just on point. Carmelo McDaniel, 14 carries, 163 yards, 5 touchdowns. Douglas had 9 carries, 141 yards, 1 touchdown, and it was 8 for 10 for 135 yards passing. And Hakeem Waters, 10 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Camden's 2 touchdowns came in the second half. It was 34-6 at halftime. So it wasn't close. They got 2 long touchdown passes in the second half, but they just had no answer for Hartsville at all. The Red Foxes were rolling, and Camden was going for the 700th win in program history.
Ooh.
And did not happen.
No, it did not happen, and that was one of the. What was that? This was dubbed a national rivalry game of the week, right?
It's Great American Rivalry Series, and they pick out games, rivalries throughout the country, and this week was the one they picked. And talking about rivalries, the overall now that was the 94th meeting between the schools. And Camden leads 47 to 43 to in 4 ties. So, you know, but a shocking night. You know, I'm not surprised that Hartsville won. I'm surprised Hartsville won 55 to 21, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and the only other thing that went wrong was the kicker missed 1 extra point. He was only 7 of 8 instead of 8 of 8. That was about it. I mean, there were 5 negative and there are a couple penalties here and there, but not much else. I mean, it was impressive, and it's going to be interesting to see. When Thomas talked about Irmo coming to Kellytown, that should be interesting. And you know, Irmo took them down last year when Hartsville went over there. So I think Hartsville will probably be just a little bit keyed up. And Phil, I cover LATA for the high school sports report.
Yep.
And I believe they're pretty good. I mean, they've got some good skill players, and they've got a decent sized line. And now they're in a tough region. That's not an easy region that they're in.
No.
But I think they've got a chance to have a pretty good year. And, you know, last year they were 6-4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like they were like they were terrible last year by any stretch.
Coach Eisman's doing
after they lost the Townsend kid to an injury at the start of the season, who was supposed to be their quarterback, and LeBron Cobb took over, and he's a starting quarterback. You and Townsend's back, and they've got him at wide receiver. And Jamarian Jones has been an outstanding running back so far.
Yeah,
for him, was a good one last year. So, you know, you might have a reason to be somewhat excited right now.
I'm a little pumped. Hey, we got to go. We got to get to a break. Thank you, Dennis. Really appreciate the information on LATA more than anything else personally, but I'm sure the information on Hartsville and Camden was the most important. What a win for Hartsville in front of a huge crowd at Kellytown. Thank you, Dennis. We got to get to the break, and we'll come back and run through as many final scores as we can and get some final comments from David Shelton as we wrap things up on this edition of the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Looking for a way to fight back against inflation? One viable way to help your money stay relevant during inflation is through investing. To a new investor, investing can feel like a puzzle. With so many pieces to consider, it can be hard to know where to start. But with the right guidance along the way, you can put the pieces together to create a winning strategy. That's where Founders Investment Services come in. Our team of financial advisors can help you navigate the complexities of investing and create a personalized plan that fits your goals and risk tolerance. We'll work with you to identify the pieces of your puzzle and how they fit into your financial future. When you're ready to find the pieces to your financial plan, call 866-739-7064 to speak with one of our specialists, or visit foundersfcuinvestments.com to learn about how we can help you identify the key pieces to your financial plans. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC, and not NCUA insured. Not guaranteed by credit union and may lose value.
If you're looking to stay hydrated this summer, turn toward a southern favorite, sweet South Carolina watermelons. One slice is equivalent to a glass of water and is just as effective as sports drinks for hydration. If you don't believe us, you can ask the Palmetto State's top football teams. The SC Watermelon Association will be serving up slices after summer practice to keep our teams fueled and hydrated. Visit scwatermelon.org for all the details and look for ripe South Carolina watermelons in your hometown.
All right, final minutes tonight. Let me run through some scores. We'll get a final comment or two from David here before we sign off. But upstate, Christ Church 27, Asheville School 26, Berea 34, Carolina 19, Greer 51, Blue Ridge nothing, Boiling Springs 29, Chapman 7, Burns 37, Greenville 14, Blacksburg 59, Cherryville, North Carolina 46, Chester 24, Fairfield Central nothing, Clinton 42, Newberry 7, Hillcrest 24, Clover 7, Easley 62, Wade Hampton 33, Crescent 33, Fountain Inn 13, Gaffney 27, South Point 21, Greenwood 10, Dorman 7, Indianland 27, Palisades, make that Pace. Is it Palisades? I think I misspelled it. 27-26. Palisades? Is that right, David? Palisades, North Carolina.
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I think I misspelled it. Palisades, North Carolina, 27-26. J.O. Man 40, Woodruff nothing. Rock Hill 38, Lancaster 16. Belton Honeypath 49, Lawrence 21. Eastside 28, Liberty 21. Fox Creek 21, McCormick 14. Powdersville 41, Malden 32. Nation Ford 17, Catawba Ridge 13. Woodmont loses to Riverside 37-26. Saluda 25, 96-0. West Oak 50, SC Spartan 6. Pickens 41, Southside 13. Abbeville 41, make that Abbeville 22, Southside Christian 21. Spartanburg 14-13 over Broome. St. Joseph's 34-6 over Landrum. Palmetto 20-19 over Travelers Rest. Chesney 20, Walhalla 10. Westside 42, Hannah 30. Wren 48, Seneca 30, York 38, Union County 17. Midlands, Blythewood 30, Westwood 20, Strom Thurmond 48, Aiken 12, Chapin 38, Spring Valley 7, Gilbert 49, South Aiken 35, Midland Valley 21, Silver Bluff 7, Well Branch 44, Ridgeland Hardyville 18, Ridgeview 47, Lower Richland 6, Richland Northeast 44, Keenan 43, Mid Carolina loses to Whitmire 8-7, Lugoff Elgin 7, Darlington nothing, North Augusta 27, Lakeside Georgia 17, Wagner Sally 26, Lake Marion 20, Gray Collegiate 52, Hammond 14, Hampton County 27, Emerald 24, Dutch Fork loses to Huff of North Carolina 20-17. Give you some PD Grand Strand. Several games postponed or canceled. Scotland County beat Marlborough County 49-26. North Myrtle 35. West Brunswick of North Carolina 7. West Florence 49. Socastee 27. South Florence 61. OW nothing. Myrtle Beach 30. St. James 9. May River 45. Waccamaw 6. Dillon 31-13 over Wilson. Philip Simmons 48. Georgetown 14. Sherrall 41. Hannah-Pamplico 14, Hartsville 55, Camden 21, Low Country, Somerville big over Berkeley tonight 62-27, Wando 55-0 over Stall, Cane Bay 19-14 over West Ashley, James Island 64-0 over First Baptist, Beaufort 20-17 over Hilton Head, Sumter 50-15 over Goose Creek, Grayson, Georgia over Fort D 41-0. David, 1 minute of your thoughts.
Well, I think an interesting game, Midland Valley beating Silver Bluff. Midland Valley is 3-0 for about the first time in 25 years or so. And Silver Bluff's a good team, and they won that game. And then that Hartsville win over Camden was a real big win for them. Gaffney beating South Point. Obviously, that was one of the marquee games around the state. Very close game. I'm sure there's a lot of bruises to be healed up from that game because I bet they got after it pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And it's, Gaffney's bounced back. Spartanburg has bounced back. Dutch Fork, will they bounce back? They're off to an 0-3. Never before, I should say never, but I mean in recent history, I don't think 0-3 has ever been talked about with Dutch Fork.
Not since Tom Knotts has been there, I don't think.
They will bounce back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we will bounce back next week, David. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. Appreciate everything, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, man.
JP Barry, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody that called in reports, and thanks to all of you for listening and making it happen for us here on the Founders Federal High School Scoreboard. Have a great weekend.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll